All right, guys, back on Big Richard, and we're gonna get a couple things done today. First, look how nice this is. But anyway, we know we don't have any taillights, and the rear harness is garbage. So I ordered a new five wire harness to go back to the taillights. I'll show you. It's pretty easy. And then also, I'll show you what's going on with the automatic shifter. We had a little boo-boo with that on the first fire up, but nothing we can't take care of. And if we have time, we'll go ahead and we'll show you what we're going to do to put this door back on this truck. But first, let's go underneath the truck. I'll show you where the harness is, where the connector is, what my plans are. Come on underneath and let me show you where I'm starting out at. All right, and for the shifter, the shift cable itself, there's usually a threaded end on here with a little clevis, and then the clevis hooks up to the pin in the linkage and it, runs the gears. This obviously broke after I had the shifter and the cable all freed and stuff like that. So I have a replacement cable coming. And then I have this B&M bracket that I'm going to use to secure the cable to the transpan, to the transmission there, and so I can run my linkage. My linkage is right up here. And that's, see that little pin? That's where that goes in. Now the harness from underneath the truck comes up and it splits right here. Okay, half connectors go to this connector right here. The other half run to this top connector here. Okay, and this pin here, but that's also our alternator, part of our alternator harness. So we just need one pin out of there, or two it looks like, to go back to the back. We'll separate those two. We'll pull out these pins here, and we'll go ahead and we'll pull the whole harness down, put it on the ground, and replicate what we have. I'll solder in the connector so I can still use these bulkhead connectors, but it'll be all new wiring from there back to the back of the truck. As you can plainly see, it's this stuff right here that runs the taillights. So let me get these disconnected, and then obviously I've filmed them so I know where the connectors are going to go back. Green, yellow, white, that order, stuff like that, and then the white and the black on here. So let me get that done, pull this harness down, get it on the floor, and then we'll just replicate a whole new harness all the way to the back of the truck. Okay, and this is the harness as it pulls out of the truck. Now, it's just old and crusty. It's pretty brittle in the back, and the wires we cut in the back, they were kind of shabby and green, and so this was never going to work. So we'll get our new harness laid out next to this one, color code it the best we can, and with these old things and with the drawings and stuff like that, get our tail lights working, get our backup lights working, get our plate lights working. There's an extra little connector in here, let me show you that. But this was so much better than to try and make this whole crap work. So let me get the new harness laid out, and we'll go from there. And yes, with our door. Now, with the shadow here, I don't know if you can see it, but these two holes are where going to the hinge that's bolted to the body. These, you can tell, new from the factory, they have maybe 2, maybe 3 threads in them. They're just horrible. So what we're going to drill, So what's going to happen is we're going to drill those out. We have a cool tool that does a nutsert, and we're going to nutsert these 2 top holes along with the 2 bottom holes. Then we'll have something we could put a bolt through and is going to attach, and then I could actually put the doors back on the truck. We'll try to get that done for you now too. Okay, hopefully you can follow my lead here, but Here on the right is the old harness. Then it's degradation and just nastiness. Here's my new harness. All right, and that wire there, that's for the tank. And that goes to the back of the truck. And the covering, it's not a black snake, but it's a covering we're gonna protect this new harness when we install it in the truck. Now, let me get underneath this dude, snake this thing through, and we'll show you what we got. And just another view, old harness versus the new harness with the protector on it. And we'll trim those wires once we get it all wired up and all the kind of stuff. This way it leaves us plenty on the back end to do what we need to do with. Okay, so we've ran the harness underneath the truck, and we'll get down there in a second. We made our connections back to where they were on both sides. Have everything secured out of the way. Now let's go underneath the truck, and I'll show you how I routed the harness, and we'll get to hooking up the taillights. Okay, it's starting at the front, comes down from the firewall, secured on the other side of that. Steering arm, box, shaft, thingy, secured there above this cross member. You come across here, comes down off the top of the frame, secured there, runs along. It's hard to see because I got exhaust is in the way for part of this, but runs along inside the frame, secured there. Secured there from a hole in the frame. The blue wire, that's for our tank. We'll zip tie that up in a minute. And the cable that runs back through the cross members, back over the axle, through the gazillion cross members on this truck, back behind the axle, again through this cross member, and down and to the back of the vehicle. So all that's left to do here is figure out this rat's nest back here. I know I have power back here because I used a power probe. These sockets aren't grounding, so I have to go back and take all this stuff apart, clean everything. Fun. But we will prevail, and we're going to cut this one off here, guys. And then give me a little bit. Let me get this all straightened out because it's going to be a lot of tedious little futzy work to get all these backup lights and plate lights and turn signals and everything working back here. And we'll show you that in the next video. So questions, comments, concerns, type them down below. It helps out the channel. Hit the thumb, hit the like button, and thanks again. We'll talk to you later.